Holocron, short for Holographic Chronicle, was an organic crystal lattice device which stored near-endless quantities of data guarded by the device's gatekeeper. Gatekeeper refers to the artificial personality that grants a user access to the information within a holocron. The gatekeeper was usually based upon the creator of the particular holocron, although it would depend on the creator's choice how this gatekeeper is fashioned. The gatekeeper itself held access to whatever information was hidden inside, and chose whether or not the student using it was worthy of the holocron's knowledge. Most holocrons were shaped like polyhedra. Jedi holocrons were usually cubical, while Sith holocrons typically took the form of a pyramid, but other geometric shapes also existed. The Telos holocron, for instance, represents an atypical shape, though this was quite a unique holocron of the Sith, as it contained testimonials from numerous Sith Lords from varying points in galactic history, including Ajanta Paul of the Dark Jedi Exiles, Naga Sado of the original Sith Empire, Darth Bane, founder of the Order of the Sith Lords, Darth Revan, and Darth Sidious himself. Regularly, a holocron could be held in one's hand. The existence of the first Sith Holocron predates that of a Jedi Holocron by at least 3,000 years. The technology to create the pyramidal holocrons common to the Sith was something gifted to the ancient Sith King Adas by Rakata warriors trying to gain his trust. He accepted their technology and made a holocron, but he saw through their ploy and rebelled against them. The holocron employed patterns of organic crystals and holographic technology to capture the appearance and cognitive networks of the holocron's owner, and transform this into a three-dimensional hologram. The gatekeeper acted as a guide through the holocron's store of information, as a search and recovery engine with a more personal touch. These gatekeepers could relate stories from the holocron's archives to events in the life of the one who activated the holocron. Jedi gatekeepers could sense the ability and level of a Jedi, and offer or restrict information accordingly, so that Padawans were not shown information too advanced and dangerous for their basic stage. Sith holocrons usually had the same restrictive mechanism like Jedi holocrons, but the gatekeeper could corrupt the unaware listener, and was often the case. Indeed, it would appear that Sith holocrons are in fact significantly more dangerous than their Jedi variants. A great many holocrons were stored in the Jedi archives on Coruscant, kept in a specific holocron chamber within the Jedi Temple. In addition to holding the holocrons created by Jedi in the field, the archives also held the details on creating holocrons and directions on accessing them. The technology to make them was nearly lost after the Great Jedi Purge, when the archives were raided by Darth Sidious. Surviving holocrons contained information including Jedi techniques, blueprints of ancient starships, and historical information about the universe. As a result, they were quite valuable. Usually, only Force-sensitive users could access a holocron, while data holocrons did not require Force sensitivity to access. This suggests that holocrons were partially powered by the Force. Once opened, Force-insensitive users could communicate with the gatekeeper as well as Force-sensitive users. It is known that Bastila Shan's father made a holocron which he used as a journal. Some holocrons were activated by taking them apart with the Force, and then inserting a special crystal that made the holocron readable. The crystal was usually hidden away for safekeeping by the founder of the holocron, but there have been instances in which a certain Jedi or Sith has protected the crystal at all times by keeping it on their person. Sith holocrons were immediately identifiable with respect to Jedi holocrons, as they were usually pyramidal in shape and etched with strange symbols and ancient hieroglyphs. Inscriptions usually lined the bottom of the device, and various dark incantations were found all over the smooth surface. At the holocron's apex rested a black crystal used to power the holocron's store of information. The design of the holocron was not the only way to discern its affiliation. Sith holocrons emitted a dark presence, creating tremors in the Force upon activation. It took a great deal of willpower for a Jedi to access the dark devices, and some of the more inexperienced Jedi often felt sickly or fell ill merely laying their gaze upon one. Internally, however, Sith holocrons worked in much the same way as a Jedi holocron. The black crystal of the Sith Holocron was made up of intricate lattices and vertices capable of storing massive amounts of information, as well as the Holocron's Sith gatekeeper. The Holocron was able to capture the appearance and cognitive networks of the Holocron's owner, and transform this into a three-dimensional hologram. Unlike their Jedi counterparts, the Sith Holocron gatekeepers did not always restrict information that might be too advanced and dangerous for a user, allowing them unlimited access to its entire dark side repository. Though this isn't always the case. Darth Bane was once limited by the Holocron of Heresies, also known as Darth Anditu's Holocron, who refused to teach him the technique he sought due to Bane's inability to learn a few techniques that came before it. Of course, Bane then proceeded to use his willpower and forced the gatekeeper to share information, though it's important to note that Darth Bane was no ordinary person. Construction. The process by which holocrons were created was a very difficult one. In the days of the old Sith Empire, holocrons were prevalent among the Dark Lords, just as Jedi holocrons were among Jedi Masters. Many rare materials had to be gathered, and much meditating on the will of the dark side was necessary to focus the Sith Lord's power. By the time of the Great Jedi Purge, nearly all records containing information regarding the creation of holocrons were thought to be lost. But in the centuries before, the knowledge was apparently still available, should one happen to find it. Darth Bane was one such individual. Bane had tried unsuccessfully for years to store his own essence within a holocron, but when his apprentice presented him with the possibility of finding the secrets on Tython, he set out immediately for that world. There he found the holocron of one of the Sith Lords, who was very knowledgeable in the construction of holocrons, and recorded within the lattices of her own holocron. Bane retrieved it, and within this device, he found the required steps one must take to successfully construct the pyramidal Sith Holocron. Crystal Matrix. The process can take months to finally perfect, though sometimes a holocron could be created within the short span of a few weeks. Each was unique to its creator. One who sought to fashion their own Sith Holocron could not use another as the blueprint by which they followed to make their own personal device. The inner components were composed of intertwined filaments and strands, forming a crystal matrix that must be fine-tuned to prevent device failure. A rare crystal was used in the workings and tunings of the intricate network that would store potentially infinite data. Each holocron matrix had to meet stringent specifications, usually requiring thousands of precise alterations and adjustments on a subatomic level. Only through the power of the Force could one ensure that each crystalline strand was properly aligned. Rituals of Invocation. Once the crystal matrix inside the holocron was successfully constructed, the creator could then focus on the outer designs of their holocron. Ancient Sith symbols were etched onto the device, and then imbued with dark side power in what were known as the Rituals of Invocation, a series of steps required to divine and inscribe the necessary etchings onto the surface of a Sith holocron. These rituals were very taxing on the individual's mental and physical condition. This ceremony was paramount in maintaining the matrix's stability after it was infused with dark side energy. Again, the symbols must be unique to the individual, and simply copying the glyphs from another holocron will only result in failure. The device will fall in on itself into a pile of crystal dust. But should this be performed before the rite of commencement, the power trapped within the symbols will fade, and the network will degrade to the point of being unable to sustain the crystal matrix. Capstone. All Sith Holocrons had capstones, wherein the creator must capture their own cognitive essence before the fine-tuning stages. This prevented the cognitive network from degrading, and only then could one truly begin to create their own holocron. The capstone was a black crystal housed within the center of the device. It was a vital part of a Sith Holocron's construction. It served the dual purpose of both an energy source for the device as well as a home of sorts for the gatekeeper, or the cognitive essence of the holocron's creator. Rite of Commencement. To trap one's essence within the capstone, they must invoke the Rite of Commencement. Due to its complexity, only the most powerful Sith Lords were capable of performing the elaborate ritual. When the Sith Lord's cognizance was successfully trapped within, a wealth of dark side knowledge and lore could be stored within the almost limitless lattices and networks of the Holocron. The cognitive network then served as the teaching element, and also stabilized the interweavings of the Holocron. Without the network in place, the device would disintegrate within days. The pull and allure of the Sith Holocron was strong, which the Jedi historian Atris discovered as she collected holocrons that slowly turned her to the dark side. As of 3996, before the Battle of Yavin, only one known Sith Holocron existed. By 1000 before the Battle of Yavin, it was said that the art of making Sith Holocrons had been lost several millennia past. That, plus the Jedi active hunting of any source of Sith teachings, had rendered the artifacts extremely rare. Most of the Sith Holocrons were created long before the Clone Wars. At that time, the Jedi archives on Coruscant contained most of the only surviving Sith Holocrons in the galaxy. These devices were locked away to all but the most senior Jedi. In fact, most of the Jedi in the Temple did not even know Sith Holocrons resided in the building. The Holocrons were kept in case the Jedi would ever face the threat of the Sith again, whereupon Jedi Masters could consult the Holocrons for ideas on how to defeat the Dark Lords.